The Bobby O Show.
Welcome to the Bobby O Show. My name is Bob O'Potzner, and I have lined up for you today a very, very special show. As you know, I've done various different themes on my show, and one has been young artists, singers, dancers, artists of any type, to come on the show and perform and tell us about their history. And I have a really fantastic artist named Jenny Grace, who is a country western rising star, writes her own songs, sings beautifully. I've seen some of her videos. We're going to show a couple today. She dances terrifically, and I'm really pleased to have her, and she's up for some awards. So before I waste the time with Bobby O speaking, let's get to the real star of the show, Jenny Grace. Welcome, Jenny.
Hello, how are you?
It is a pleasure meeting you on remote, like the real world. Before I get into much discussion between the two of us, I want to show one of the songs you've done, a great video on a song called Dreamy. Let's start with that. Let's watch the video. And we'll come after the show, after that's shown, and we'll talk a little bit.
We both have such different lives, and this distance seems so far away. And I don't really know you, but somehow it feels like I do. All that I can see is that you're always in my energy. One look from you and my heart is on fire. I know I shouldn't, but sometimes I think about you and dream about you. Oh yeah, I know I couldn't tell you just what I'm feeling, so now I'm dreaming of you. Did I know you in another time? Seems like our worlds collide, and now that you're here, there's nothing that seems clear. Tell me what you mean when I look into your eyes, turn me upside down. No, I can't forget you now. I know I shouldn't, but sometimes I think about you and dream about you. Oh yeah, I know I couldn't tell you just what I'm feeling, so now I'm dreaming of you.
Jenny, I really like that song. Did you write that song?
Yes, I did. It was actually 2 years ago in the summer, and my friend plays guitar, he sent me a banjo hook, and it was just like da, 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 and I came up with the whole song. So,
What was the inspiration? Was there a particular person you thought about, or just generally?
yeah, I had a crush on somebody, and it was just like, yep, this is the song. This has got to be for the guy.
That's really cool. How do you go about writing a song?
It's very random. So sometimes I'll have ideas. I'll have, a hook come into my head and I will start singing it. Like when I had Dreaming, that whole hook of the chorus kind of came in after I heard that banjo riff. And then you kind of have the theme of the song and then you do the verses. So the verses are always secondary. I really write choruses first. So
I'm reading a book right now called Barbara, about Barbara Streisand, her autobiography. And she talks a lot about writing songs and sometimes doing the lyrics, sometimes doing the music first. And it sounds very, very challenging. And as I understand it, you're up for some awards now, including Songwriter of the Year. I believe I'm correct.
Yes, at the Josie Music Awards, which is going to be at the Opry this year.
In Nashville.
Yep.
And also Rising Country Star.
Yep.
And Best Actress in a Music Video. How do you become a Best Actress in a music video?
I have no idea. I don't really know what I'm doing. I used to act a little bit as a kid, so maybe I just remembered that training or something,
Where'd you grow up, my friend?
I grew up in Milford, Connecticut.
Well, I first met or heard of you in Milford, Connecticut at my dentist's office. We ought to give a shout out to your friend Nicole, who, while I was there, showed me a picture and you were there and it led to you. So I didn't realize you were from Milford itself. And what's your background educationally?
Educationally, I went to UConn. I majored in science there, and I'm working on my master's in computer science from Penn State. I'm doing it remotely. So, computers.
And I understand that you've traveled around the world in a certain capacity, which shocked me. Now, it shouldn't shock me, but why were you traveling the world? What were you doing?
Oh, I was serving. I went to the military when I was 17. Just always wanted to serve. I have a lot of people in my family that served, and I was in Intel. And I went overseas a couple times and made it back, luckily. So
I want to thank you for your service. My father was in the Navy in World War II, and he always was very proud. He was in the Navy. He used to always say, "The gravy's in the Navy." And I really respect what you did and that you served our country. Did you do any playing of music while you were in the military?
Yes, I used to get called into various commanders' offices to come sing because, it's just a fun little break entertainment when you're overseas. It gets stressful. So I'd have to sing on command and, it was fun. I had my guitar shipped out there. It's when I learned to play, actually, when I was like 19. And the guitar got really beat up because the places we were in. But it's a very good stress reliever, writing music.
My son played football in high school at Richfield High School for 4 years. And when he home from football practice, he'd eat his steak and go up to his room for an hour and play his guitar.
That's awesome. Yeah.
How'd you get trained? Do you have voice training lessons? How'd you get, you sing excellent way. How did you get, what kind of lessons did you have?
I had a few mentors in the industry who kind of kicked the crap out of me and told me, that I have to be a certain way. And I did. I mean, I was kind of a rock singer when I first came out, but to really get into country, it took some work. I think country singers are the best singers in the world. So it's a lot to live up to.
And when you say country music, what does country music mean? I went to school in North Carolina to Duke for my law school, so I've had some exposure to the country western. But what do you view country western music to be?
So it starts with the roots. It starts with Loretta Lynn. It starts with Johnny Cash. All the greats from the early 1900s. It goes a little bit further than that if you really want to talk about like folk music and where that comes from, but that's where it really starts. And it all starts in Nashville. It started there and it's really branched out. It's a lot more rock these days. It's a lot more pop, but the roots are there of just great songwriting.
The Richfield Playhouse, I believe, is hosting Roseanne Cash, if that's her name now.
Oh, awesome.
What's that?
That's amazing. I saw her in an award show a couple years ago. Her performance. Is she the sister of Johnny Cash? Right?
Oh, it's not. It's not his wife. Did she pass away? The wife? I don't. I thought it was his wife. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's not his wife. No, I think it might be his sister. I'm pretty sure it's his sister. Yeah, June has been gone for a while too. It's not his wife. No.
Oh, okay. But it's kind of exciting. So, how did you enter the industry? I mean, I know you learned when you were younger. You learned some dance, I presume, right? And how did you get into the industry itself? It's not an easy thing to do, I'm sure.
No, it's not. And I'm still very new. I started, I was always a performer since I was a child. I used to beg my mom to, be in plays, and I used to always want to dress up and be an actress, do things like that. And I was always kind of told to sing by my hometown, but I just didn't really believe in pursuing a career in music because I didn't think I was good enough. And I just thought, how can anyone make it? It's just like a 1 in a million chance. So it wasn't until, after I served, I struggled with a lot of stress and a lot of adjusting to civilian life. It was very hard for me. So really just started playing guitar in college. Anytime I would leave class, I would go to the music rooms at UConn, start writing songs. And I kind of just developed my own sound, my own style. And it came a couple years later that I really realized I need to be in country music, because whenever I would sing, I had a twang and people were like, you're meant for this genre. And that's kind of where I found a home.
It's interesting because when I heard your songs, I heard a twang and I thought, well, maybe she's born and raised in Durham, North Carolina or something. Is the twang natural when you sing? Is that a natural twang?
It's strange because I've taken voice lessons in Connecticut when I was younger as a child, and they're always like, where's that twang coming from? And I don't know, because I was born and raised in Connecticut, which is, we do have country, but maybe I just naturally, that's my thing. I don't know.
I think it's time for some more music. If we could have Candy Ann put another song on that we have.
Actually out on YouTube. Go look.
Jenny, what's the group that you played with?
So that is my backing band. We had just played Whiskey Jam last year in August, which is a big industry showcase for up and coming country music singers in Nashville. And yeah, I mean, I've played with my drummer, for 3 years now. His name is Mike Maluski, also known as Squeak. He's from Pennsylvania. So.
And how do you get into a band? How'd you form the group? Or did they get you because of your voice? How did it work?
Oh, it's been tough. I mean, over the years in Connecticut, I tried to form bands and I could never find anybody who could play the Nashville style. There's a lot of cover bands in Connecticut, as you know. There's a lot of 80s rock, so it's really not like the style I need. So I found some rare gems, like my drummer and the guitarist in that video as well. His name's Vinny. He's from Connecticut as well. He's another gem, very rare, knows how to play a telly. And my current lineup is also musicians from Pennsylvania, and again, they're needles in a haystack. I got lucky, but it's also just from, hustling a lot. You just, along the way, you pick up people that are going to be part of, what you're doing, and they want to be part of it. And I think it's just paying your dues. You find the right people over time,
What does Nashville style mean?
So it's not 80s rock. It's not playing, in a rock band. It's not a cover band. It's the guys that play the guitars for Nashville. They have a very specific picking style that they have. It's hard. It's actually the hardest genre to play. And my drummer will say the same thing, that country music is very hard to play. It's very controlled. And a lot of people, they just kind of free for all and noodle all over the guitar or noodle all over the drums. But that's not what country is. Country is very controlled and very, it's dynamics. It's, highs and lows. So yeah.
I would have thought the opposite. I know very little about country western, as I told you. I would have thought country western would be much more flexible, not so controlled. When you say it's control, what does that mean? It's control.
So for instance, I used to be kind of a rock singer, and rooted way back in my past when I was a child, I was taking opera because my great grandmother was an opera singer, which is very interesting. So I think, I had that natural inclination to do that. But again, opera is so different because you're controlled, but you're in a totally different vocal register and everything. So when you're doing country music and, for instance, singing, you're in a very small place with the amount of air you're putting on your voice, the amount of, breaths you're taking, your tone. I mean, there's so many things. And if you really listen to country singers on the radio today, they really are the best in the world. I mean, you have Faith Hill, you have Carrie Underwood. I mean, those girls can out-sing anybody on the stage. I think they're really the best. And that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I just think there's a lot of control that is involved. I mean, your storytelling when you're singing these songs, you can't be doing crazy Beyonce riffs. You have to kind of just it's all about tone,
I respect the fact that not only do you sing so beautifully and you move well on the stage from what I've observed already, but you also write the lyrics and you write the song. How do you go about doing it? Are you driving in the car one day and you pull over and stop? Hey, wait a minute. I just saw a sign. I want to do a song about that. What is it? How do you do it?
Yeah, it's actually annoying. And a lot of songwriters will tell you it's the same thing for them, where they're just bugged into hey, write this down. And you're waking up at 3 a.m. and you have this melody in your head and you can't get out of your head. And for instance, when I wrote the song Driving with the Top Down, which was my first ever song I released in 2019, that song had been in my head for 5 years prior. And that stupid little riff, that stupid little pop riff was just in my head. And it's just, a lot of the hit songwriters will tell you they'll be bugged to kind of go write it down. And, I don't have any hits yet, but I think eventually, if I keep doing it, hopefully I'll write with somebody that we can make a proper hit,
I like that song a lot. I've played it several times since we met through Nicole. And that's a really cool song, Driving your Top Down.
Driving with the Top Down, yeah, thank you. It didn't really do the best because a publisher in Nashville picked it up and didn't really do anything with it. And now they decided to keep it forever. So I learned my lesson the hard way. It's like what Tom Petty went through. If you know his story, he also, had given away some songs to people that shouldn't have had them. So I learned very young that, you got to read contracts before you sign, which I'm sure, you as an attorney know this.
When you said you gave it away, you mean you let someone use it without having any contractual residuals for you? Is that what they call it?
Well, the contract was very bad. And without getting into legal aspects, I had very good lawyers in Nashville who were able to get me away from far away from him. But as part of the deal, he was able to keep that song forever. And it's just like my sacrifice. That's my baby. That's my song. But if it got me away from him and I never have to deal with him again, that's the best.
Didn't Taylor Swift have problems like something along those lines where, I don't know,
Yeah.
what was her problem? She had something where she had to buy her music back or something?
Yep. She had Scooter Braun, who, yes, another person like the person I had in Nashville. And we're not going to name these people's names, but they have very interesting reputations. And luckily for me, thank God, I'm out. I'm away from that person. But like I said, my song's gone forever. Taylor, what?
Which means essentially I couldn't sing a lick for you, but I could read a contract pretty damn well.
I know.
They take advantage of people like you, young people like you, who excited to get heard, to get heard and played. And it's a tough business that you're in.
It is, and luckily I had great lawyers that got me out. So now I can sign with anybody. I'm totally free agent, but if it wasn't for those lawyers, I don't know. I mean, he could have tried to lock me more, like Taylor, she had to redo her master's because what happened was Scooter Braun owned the masters, you know, so she had to go in and she re-recorded all of them because she was smart. She kept her publishing. So if you keep your publishing, you're good. You know what I mean? With that song, Top Down, that guy, he owned the publishing forever. So there's nothing I can do about it. I can go re-record a master, but it doesn't matter. Publishing is where it's at. You want to make sure that you own your own publishing. And that's why Taylor's very smart. You know?
So you learned, well, you're a smart lady too, because you learned your lesson and now you own all your own songs. You were telling me, how does that work?
Well, like I said, those great lawyers I had in Nashville made sure that I got most of my songs back. And like I said, the one song that was sacrificed.
What's that one?
Forever. But, you know, it's only one out of many. So thank God, you know, and now I'm able to write with whoever I want. I can go write a hit song tomorrow with somebody and he cannot do anything. So I am so lucky. You know?
So how do you cut a song then? So you're not connected with any studio at this point in time. You just write your songs. And how do you get them? I don't want to say published, but how do you get them heard?
Well, it's tough, but I just signed last year with a record label in Manhattan called Tribeca Records. They have Randy Edelman, who's a big Hollywood composer. You probably heard of him. He's produced music for Last of the Mohegans. He's a very famous songwriter, composer, everything. So they have him. They have a couple other artists, and I only have a distribution deal with them. So basically, I still own all my music. I still own the masters, the publishing. They just simply distribute for me. But because they're a real record label, it's a lot better than me trying to go upload my own stuff on the internet with some unknown distributor like DistroKid, who I don't know if you know anything about that, but they steal money from artists. Like they don't have a good reputation. So it's nice to have a label put out the music for me. Now they don't really do much more than that, but it's all I can ask for right now because I'm not a big artist yet. And you know, it just helps me get stuff off the ground. So
if we want to see you live in Connecticut, when are we going to see you in Connecticut?
So I am coming August 3rd. I will be at the Jameson, and that is in Watertown. I'll be there with full band, and I have an opener for the set. He's also a Nashville artist. That'll be fun. And then August 31st, I have Woodbury Brewing in Woodbury, Connecticut, which is going to be a full band set.
We have a few minutes left. We have a choice of one of the shows you recorded, or you can take your guitar and strum and sing with us right now. I'd prefer to have you sing right now if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. Let me, I can do that. You can hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear.
Okay. So this is my new song that's out now. It's called Ride On. And the music video is going to be out in a week. So everybody go pre-save it on YouTube because it's going to be airing next Friday at 9 o'clock. So here it is.
Grab your horses, grab your guns, lock up your daughters, round your sons. They're gonna find you here while you're sleeping. They are looking for you, they are creeping. The time is a-coming for you to run. Ride on, ride on. Spend our days riding into the sun. Don't know how much longer we have till we're done. So we ride, ride on. Ain't no time you to play. They are coming fast, they're headed this way. You better get on your knees, you better pray to the God that you neglect every day. The time is a-coming for you to run. Ride on. Till we're done, so we ride on. Think you are safe, but running away from it all. You think they'll never come back here for you. Listen to your
past will follow you. Ride your horses, grab your guns, lock up your daughters, round your son. The time is a-coming for you to run. Ride on, ride on. Spend our days running to the sun. Don't know how much longer we have till it's done. So we ride, ride on.
Okay, I'm sorry. Very, very good. I really enjoyed that. You know, the opening of my show was written by Dave King, who was my prior director, who has since left the field. And I'm sure if you want to write a song about the Bobby O, I'm sure you could write a phenomenal song. And who knows, maybe it'll make it on to our show. We have a couple minutes left. Give me a view of your vision. Where do you see yourself in the music field in the next couple of years? What do you have a plan, a goal? I'm sure hearing you talk, you have a plan and a goal. What's your story?
So I've been told that, well, industry has foreseen, some industry, that I will be a songwriter and really heavy hit with that. And I'm not sure. I like being an artist as well. I just want to write great music. I want to tour. I want to, you know, just live that life. And hopefully, you know, I just enjoy where I'm at on the journey. You know, I just try to, you know, not take it for granted and how far I've come, you know, just a little girl from Connecticut trying to make it in Nashville, you know?
You know, it's funny because as a lawyer, I've been practicing law for many years, and every day, every case, you learn something new. Tell me one or two things you've learned in the last couple of years that has augmented, has made you a better singer and songwriter. How have you been helped by people, yourself? Give me a little background, please.
So songwriting is not something you're born with. I mean, some people are just so talented, like Bob Dylan, you know, just naturally so good. But I think I have gotten better by just having more life experience. And the more songs I write, I feel like the lyrics come easier. You know, it's hard. I mean, writing music, songwriting is like a poem, you know, it has to be very symmetrical and all that. So I think just more muscle memory, the more you do it, the better you get.
You know, it's interesting as we close the show, and we're going to have you back again if you'd be so willing to do so. I was just thinking when I went to college, a friend of mine from college brought this music down from a guy named Bob Dylan. I was thinking named Bob Dylan as you were talking, and but his songwriting was so phenomenal, more than his singing as far as I'm concerned.
Oh
Jenny Grace, you have been a true pleasure and a trooper, and I really appreciate your being on the show. We'll have you back again, and my pleasure to you. And thank you again, your friend Nicole, for introducing us. This has been Bobo Potsner on The Bobby O Show. Thank you, Jenny Grace.
Thank you.